word on the street is people are kind of saying, hey, how do I print this assignment that my teacher gave me so my kid can work on it with like a pencil and then turn it back in via Teams? We're going to go by step on if you're using a Surface or another computer to try to do this, or whether you're using an iPad to do your assignment, complete it, and then turn it back in via Teams. Okay, so first we're going to talk a little bit about a Surface view. Good news for you, it's just a little easier on a Surface or even just a regular computer that you may have at your house to complete this printing process. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like here for a second. So if I go over to a student view for an assignment that looks something like this. Now, here's kind of a big indicator of how easily you can do this. So a lot of times your teachers are sharing this in OneNote, which is fine. And that's probably, since you're in Teams on a computer like a Surface or a Windows 10 computer, whatever it is, this is gonna be a little easier for you. But if they also attach this picture file, this is something that you can always do, is you can always come over here, you can download it, and then you can go print it like you would a normal picture type of thing. So that's one way to do it. But if you're going to use the printer option, as far as I'm going to open this from this, because a lot of times they're going from a OneNote page, right? So if I just click on this, it's going to take me to OneNote inside of Teams. And you're going to notice right here that the page is going to come up, and yours might look just a smidge different than mine, but you should still have a print option up here at the top that, as long as you can attach to your computer, or if you've got a wireless printer or an air printer, you should be good to go, because you should be able to find that on your network if they're on the same one. The other things that you can do down here is, if it didn't, let's say you didn't click on the Teams one, you have two other options. You can go from opening it in OneNote, which will give you something that looks like this. So it's the same page, and as long as you come up here in the Windows 10 OneNote app, up here on these little ellipses in the right-hand corner, you've got a print option up there. Okay, the other option down here is OneNote Online, and OneNote Online is not too much different looking than that. So here we are in OneNote Online. Looks very similar, but you can kind of tell I've got some browser, I've got a browser open and I've got my tabs up top. Okay, same kind of deal here, except in OneNote Online, you just have to go to File, and then you can select Print, and you can go about your normal business there. Now, the only thing that you might run into an issue if you're running a Surface and your printer is not like an Air printer, or one that's just requires no wires to be hooked up to it, is you're going to notice on the side of your Surface you don't have like a USB jack like you would have normally had. You actually have one that's called a USB-C. It's a little newer USB connection, but you're going to notice that that's not going to work. So if you have an adapter, that's great, but otherwise you're going to want to use the computer that's probably already hooked up to the printer itself. So most of you asking this question are probably parents of some littler ones that are probably in K through 1 that are using an iPad. And we understand why you might want to print, because little hands probably are a little better when they're using a pencil, and opposed to drawing on an iPad might make it a little more difficult. So we understand why you want to print this off. You just have to understand printing from an iPad is just a little bit harder unless you have a wireless air printer, like we mentioned before on the whole OneNote examples and other things like that. That'll come in handy if you can connect to your wireless printer. Awesome. If not, well, you're going to have a little harder time, just because if I look at this inside of this, just like I did my other one, and I look at my student view, if I only have that OneNote example right there underneath the student work, I don't have those 3 dots where I can open it in different ones. And when I open it in there, printing is not really an option for me when I look at it. So you can kind of see here, when I go to OneNote, I can see that same picture that I have, but at the same time, I don't really have those same kind of options as far as printing goes. And you can kind of even tell when I look at my little wheel up there, my settings wheel doesn't really give me the option as well. I might be able to, nope, see nothing right there. So really, printing is a little bit harder when it comes to this. But if I go back to Teams, if your teacher puts a picture right there, like in the reference materials, this is going to be a little easier option for you, because right up here, let's just say this was the picture that they got. If you go to this little box with the up arrow, printing at least will be an option for you when it comes to that. So it's kind of a matter of how your teacher decides to share their information with you. Just going to tell you right now, Office apps via the web don't work as well on an iPad. Just think, Microsoft and Surfaces, that's kind of how they're made under iPad. They kind of make them to work on there, but they're not necessarily as compatible with them just because it's another operating system. So if you can open this up on another computer that's connected to the printer, that would be your best bet. Your child should know how to sign in. But basically, if you go to office.com and sign in underneath their email address and use the password that we all know, that's your best bet to getting there and printing off what you need. They should know how to turn this back in via a picture, though, on the iPad. And if you're not sure how to do that, there's a video in the parent guide for that as well. The other option that you can use when it comes to iPads is you could always take a screenshot of that by pressing the home button and the power button at the same time. And then you could print from there, but that's kind of like your last option when it comes to that if you can't get your printers to show up.